What is going on, everyone? Welcome to our debut episode of the Tilt Mavericks Podcast. My name is Phelan.
My name's Josh.
Dom, what's up?
My name's Marshall. Today's topic is PlayStation 5 versus Xbox Series X.
Cue intro.
So as Phelan already said, this is issue shit.
All right,
hold
brilliant start.
Sorry.
Start.
It's been a
leave
minute
it
since
in.
I've had to record something like this, so it's
Leave it in.
Yeah, leave it in.
all right.
We're doing it live.
We're doing it live. All right. So as Phelan said, this is our pilot episode of the brand new podcast. We've been playing it for a little while. Our brand new group, the Tilt Mavericks. Just start things off, kind of what. Let's talk about what everybody's kind of been doing this week. Phelan, if you want to start.
Well, with this week, it's been a little weird for me. So this is all kind of happening at a transitional point. As far as like anything gaming related, has not too much been going on. I put a lot of my time and money into building a Pokemon trading card game deck that is actually good, is actually considered viable. So that's fun that I suddenly started shooting up the leaderboard at the locals. That was nice. Other than that, like I said, I'm sort of at a transitional period going from a job I've had for about 3 years now into another one. So things have been on the slower end for me. But I did start Wander Song on PlayStation 4 recently.
Ooh.
It's a little indie game. I think mostly inspired by Paper Mario. Like it kind of gives me like a Paper Mario vibe. Super cute, and I'm excited to keep playing it. So that's all that's going on with me though.
Are we going to see a review of it eventually?
Maybe eventually. I don't know. I'm really just playing it just because I just want to play it. I've also been playing a lot of Pokemon Silver. Forgot to throw that out there.
Yeah, me too. We still got our battles coming up soon.
Goddamn fucking Whitney, the goddamn fucking milk tank.
All right, so moving on. Dom or Josh, who wants to go next?
Josh, you want to go?
This week, a lot of working, coming home, cooking, boring adult life. Played pretty much Guild Wars and Magic the Gathering online right now, if I'm not playing Magic in person.
I noticed a lot more people like Summit and them are playing Guild Wars. Did something happen in the game recently?
He just stalks me. Me and my buddy Greg, we gave up on playing ESO, decided we wanted to change. Summit was playing ESO. We decided to play Guild Wars 2 days later. Summit's like, I'm gonna go play Guild Wars. So, he stalks me. But no, nothing's changed. No really new updates. Just fun MMO. Lots of crafter grinding this week. Just sitting in front of the computer. I've got 4 maxed right now out of the 9.
Yeah, your character looks freaking sick, though. I don't know if you guys have seen it, but the character looks, it's like an undead rogue kind of thing. It's really cool.
Oh yeah, I got my second level 80 today.
Jesus.
So, as you know, busy. But besides that, not a lot.
I'll have you know that I have a level 120 Blood Elf Death Knight.
I do too. It's WoW.
It's like I've been on that grind, bitch.
I got the DK and I got the Demon Hunter. Let's go at it.
I haven't been on WoW since I was like 10.
Keep those memories alive and stay away from it.
The sickness is real. That could be a whole nother topic later on. Dom, what about you? What are you doing this week, man?
My week's been pretty decent. Quarantine's definitely got me fucked up. Just waking up every day, waking up late, kind of relaxing, trying to do my part and just stay out of the public. Been sinking ungodly hours into Monster Hunter here recently, and that's been pretty fun. Other than that, it's just been every once in a while sporadically lab Ultra Street Fighter 4, I'll lab Dragonball FighterZ, I'll lab Skullgirls. What do you say, Marshall?
Which Monster Hunter are you playing?
Generations Ultimate.
Oh, very cool.
It's a lot easier to get to. I don't own a PS4, so the Switch version is Gen Ultimate, which has a shit ton of content to get through.
Yeah, I heard it was a
Me
really
and
good.
my buddy got to G rank in about a week, so we're just grinding that.
Yeah, I heard it looked really good on the Switch.
Yeah, it looks really good. It's an upscale 3DS port.
That's
I'm
awesome.
really happy it exists.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure the community does too, especially because World has, kind of been doing its thing, and there's not really anyone else talking about the previous generation games.
Can I go on a small tangent about World real quick?
Sure.
There's that new boss, Elatrion, that came out last week, and it's one of the Elder Dragon fights. It's in-game content, but they did a thing where Monster Hunter World element damage isn't as good as it could be, but this requires you to do element damage to get through phases, and there's legitimate a DPS check that you can't look at, and it doesn't have a bar. And if you don't miss the DPS, like if you don't hit the DPS check, your whole party carts, which is 4 carts, which means you fail the quest because you limit the 3 carts and you leave the quest. So it's decentivizing players from playing it with friends or with randoms because it's easier to just cart once on solo. And a whole bunch of like the top tier players or like the HR 999s are just like, fuck it, screw you randoms, I'm leaving. Because the randoms don't necessarily grasp elemental damage yet.
I mean, it's still cool that they're updating it, though.
Oh yeah, I love that it's getting content. I just wish that the balance was a little better and the weapon designs were nicer.
Well, maybe if the community speaks up enough. I mean, it seems like they've been paying attention a lot more. So, that'll get a fix later on.
I have no right to really harp on the Elatrion stuff too much. It's in-game content. It's supposed to be really difficult.
No, it still sounds cool.
That was my week.
I guess it's on to me. As you guys know, I've been a ghost playing Ghost. Been playing through Ghost of Tsushima on the PS4. Trying to get the review written for that. See if any buyers will take it. I don't know if any listeners who have come from any of our other social media, but I do freelance reviews and writing going into video game journalism. So I'm starting to get into my classes ready for that. Working on payment plans for the FAFSA, all that jargon, and I actually finished Ghost of Tsushima 2 days ago, and oh my gosh, I've never had a game tug at my heartstrings so much in just a few hours of the ending of that game. It's definitely on my top. It's probably my top game of the year so far. It is beautiful, very well written story. The combat is actually difficult but fluent. It just makes me want to go for that platinum trophy on it. It's insane.
I think my only complaint on Ghost of Tsushima is the time period. So, like, they build up the samurai as, like, they bear the honor, and there's Bushido and all of that. Well, the game takes place about 100 years before those things were written. And samurai were basically just, like, shithead feudal lords. So you have like a huge divide where you want to deliver the fans that pop culture iteration of samurai that came 100 years later, but the time period doesn't allow for it. Like haikus didn't exist, and the main character, when you get to the point where they start throwing like gunpowder bombs, he's like, "Oh, those are gunpowder bombs," which doesn't make sense because the Mongols that are invading, that's the first time that anyone used gunpowder bombs ever in combat. So you have that weird shift in time period.
Yeah, I could definitely agree with that. It's one of those things that, if you don't know the time era and you don't know the history behind it, I don't think it'll take anything away from the game. But if you know anything about the history, which I'm diving deeper into samurai lore and Mongol lore because of this game, it's starting to add up, and then now I'm starting to see the problems as well. But I think for the mass majority, if they not too familiar with it, I don't think it'll take away from it too much.
It's a minor nitpick.
Yeah, but it's completely understandable. What is or sorry, I completely went blank on that one. But other than Ghost, I've pretty much just been doing edits for our group stuff, and then working on a few edits for my channel, I got a cool new idea. I haven't got to talk to you guys so about it yet, but I'm actually thinking about starting a new series on my Twitch channel of doing a backlog series, basically where I take one game of my backlog each or one at a time and streaming it on my Twitch channel and leaving my main gameplays like the new releases for the YouTube channel. So that way it'll be more retro, older, give me an excuse to get through my backlog every week. So that's something I've been kind of working with, and it's been pretty interesting. It's been really, really interesting. Just getting to see just the vast variety of stuff that I've collected over the years, and just see it pile up and be like, huh, if I'm in any mood, I can pretty much pick any of these. So it's really cool. Ever since Phelan got me on backloggery.com, they have a little feature that you can hit shuffle and it'll pick a game for you. So I basically just pop on stream, pick that out, and then there we go. So it's pretty cool.
And I employ a certain strategy, or rather a similar strategy, actually, using that specific feature on the website.
Where you hit it. And you
I haven't done too much with it lately, but I do have I have used that to select the game I want to stream moving forward. It's just a matter of getting the off time to stream, and also that's also. Believe it or not, it's also how I select which videos I do for like my Let's Play channel when I want to do like more in-depth commentary on a game. I was like, okay, random. Oh, hey, okay, you know what? Whatever. NES Pac-Man. Here we go. So, I mean,
great video, by the way.
It works because for somebody like myself, I'm incredibly indecisive, and with a library as large as mine, I spend my entire free time to play games, looking at it, going, I could play that. I could play that. Oh, I forgot I had that one. You know what I'm saying? So,
I have nothing to play.
It is kind of like, boom, there it is. Let's play it.
Oh my gosh. So we do have a few more. We do have a few more topics to get into before we get into our main topics. Does anyone want to volunteer to go first with their topic?
I can go.
Go for it.
So, lately, I've been trying to get back into Dragon Ball. I took a break for it early this quarantine. I want to say I stopped playing it around May or like late May, because UI Goku came out and I played him for like a couple weeks, and I just started playing Skullgirls more. The meta in that game is getting to the point where you can easily tell what's good and what isn't. And so there are three basic things in fighters that the top tiers all have. And it's really interesting to see how it's like, if a character releases on the DLC and they don't have these three basic things, they're not necessarily going to break the meta the way that you would expect it to. So stagger pressure is very important in fighters. It's when you, on a block string, you can pop, 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 and you have that block string where you're keeping your opponent guessing, where they're guessing where can they put their buttons and when is their turn. So you're staggering them like that, and then you're going to mix them up. If your character doesn't have good stagger pressure, or like good normals to stagger, your character is significantly worse. And on top of that, if your character can't like benefit off of stagger, or benefit off of safe normals, or benefit off of a 2L low where you can open your opponent up, it's just like, why are you really playing the character? And this is only really to go for like high level. So like, No Kami says it all the damn time. It's like, people will come at him and it's like, oh, UI Goku's broken, he's top tier, I beat up my little brother with him. And it's like, yeah, you beat your little brother, but are you going to open Goichi up with UI Goku? Probably it's like, not. You look at he's gonna block that all day long. He's not gonna get opened up. So top players don't go toward that.
So do you see that as an issue, or is that something that or do you feel like they can be improved upon?
It's not an issue where characters need to get nerfed. It's an issue where characters need to be buffed. I feel like characters like Gogeta and Jiren and like these characters with unsafe normals or like no lows, or like Jiren has okay stagger but doesn't have lows. He has like 2M, which is slow. So you buff those characters, bring them up, making their frame data better, and you're going to see them being played because their combos are good. Their neutral is okay. So you just give them that basic stagger and being able to open somebody up, and it's bingo. But you just need to bring the rest of the roster up to the level of Kid Buu, Ball, Bardock B, Base Vegeta. If you bring like the characters up to that level, it's going to be way more fun.
So what kind of changes do you think that's going to bring to like the competitive scene? Like what changes do you think you're going to start seeing?
If those changes happen and frame data becomes better for these lower lower tier characters, we're going to see more teams. We're getting to the point now, I think, and it's pretty bad because COVID is affecting it, where we're not seeing any locals for the game for the most part. We're pretty confident that the top 4 characters in the game are Base Vegeta, Bardock B, Kid Buu, and Team Gohan. And they all have those basic fundamental things that make a character good. So if you lift up the rest of the roster with them, because I don't think they should get nerfed. I just think that we need more variety on the roster. It would be like seeing Zero May Cry in Marvel 3 every team. It's just that kind of problem. It's not necessarily bad, but it's not really refreshing either.
Okay, so it's basically like they need to adjust the other characters so we can see a wider variety of teams rather than just a consistent 4 or 5 committed characters.
Mm-hmm. My next thing about it is Bardock B. I want to talk about that character. I told Phelan about it, and I think he understands pretty well. But I think Bardock B assist is a bug. I still don't understand how it's still in the game. It's a B assist, so it has the same amount of cooldown as every other assist in the game except for C's, because C's take longer. But the problem is that C assists teleport to your opponent. They come to you, and they play an active role in neutral. Bardock B teleports to you. And if you block it, it's around 40 frames of block stun, which is 2/3 of a second, which is devastating. Like if you want to play the game and get results in a tournament, you are at a worse state if you don't pick Bardock B. Like that character is crazy. Like Phelan sat down and labbed a little bit before we started the podcast, and he was starting to see a lot of that crazy shit. What do you think about that?
And I was actually about to speak up. You have to keep in mind, just so there's a little bit of background about me, is that I don't really put much time into fighters. Admittedly, just not the game for me. Not that I don't think that it's bad or anything. It's just
We all
preferences
have
and
our
all
own
that kind of
niches.
stuff. Exactly. But I did kind of want to brush up a little bit before the episode today. And Dom told me about it. I'm also not normally a lab monster. Or hold on, let me back up for a second. I don't often see.
Did you just say you're not normally a lab monster?
That's, hold on. That's why I said let me back up. I don't normally see like the frames on like block pressure and stuff. Like I go in and I try to lab that stuff, and I'm like, I don't see it. And I go back to labbing my combos because I'm brain dead. But he told me it's like simple block stun combo. Just do this, Bardock assist. And I was like, oh my god.
50-50. Imagination.
I was like, there's so much you can do off of that. And I was like, that's insane, right? That like I don't really play this game a lot. It's harder for me to see those situations compared to most people. And I was like, nah, that's busted right there. Holy shit.
But in my time of looking at the meta of fighters and trying to get back into it, I had created, I want to say it's a hypothesis, but I don't think it's the right term. I think it's just an idea, like a philosophy behind it. A lot of people like put characters on tier lists and it's comparative. So like, oh, this character is better than this character, so this character's higher on the tier list than this character, and that's comparative. Like, you guys know what I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
What makes something inherently top tier or inherently good? So there's a design philosophy word I had, meat and potatoes. You're going to hear this in the sports world, you're going to hear this in pro wrestling. Meat and potatoes is like, I'm a meat and potatoes kind of guy, which means you don't like the finer things. You don't like to do crazy cool shit. You do 1 or 2 or 3 things well, and you do them so well that it's great. Like, you do those things so well that you become comparatively better than the rest of the cast. So, Zamasu in FighterZ, he has around 20 to 30 special moves in that game. Do you want to know where Zamasu falls in the tier list?
Probably.
That man's a low tier.
I was gonna
He's a
say
low tier.
I can hear the sinking sound effect from here.
He's low. He's not good. His moveset is so big that Bandai didn't make him good at his core because he covers so many options. But Team Gohan, what would argue to be a top 4 or top 5 character in the game. Do you want to guess how many special moves Team Gohan has?
6.
2.
No, yeah, it's definitely 2.
He has 2. That character's oppressive. It's like meat and potatoes. Are you using the entire character's kit to be good? So like when I play UI Goku, there's only about 4 or 5 like techniques that I will use with UI Goku that are considered all around good, and the rest is highly situational. And it makes him a worse character. Bardock, his entire moveset's getting used. Team Gohan, his entire moveset's getting used. Base Vegeta, his entire moveset's getting used. Constantly. So it's like it's this meat and potatoes idea. And I want to bring it back around and throw it at you guys. This doesn't just happen in fighting games. It doesn't even happen in just fighters. Marshall, you played competitive Halo 2, right?
Mm-hmm.
What was the problem solver the community called the gun? The battle rifle, right?
Well, it depends. It all depends. Yeah, the battle rifle had its own problems with BXR and people being able to execute that in high end play. It created its own problems altogether, but via the introduction of dual wield weapons, the only way you could combat it was going mid long range. In which what a lot of teams did was, instead of in Halo 1 where you had a lot of in your traditional team would have one main runner, one heavy, one mid range, and of course for bigger battles you'd have them run back for like distance with grenades and stuff, or sniper.
Mm-hmm.
In Halo 2 you had more mid range people and you only had 1 or 2 up front runners, so it created distance, more tactical feel to trying to figure out, you end up having to have a spotter.
Mm-hmm.
And it just changed how everything ran so much, especially after the multiplayer pack released. And it was just one of those things that changed everything.
So my point is, I've been watching competitive Halo 2. I've been watching Halo 2 modding. Phelan, you got me into that channel after I already sporadically watched that long Warthog video.
That video is just phenomenal.
Because Halo 2 and Halo in general has the design philosophy of large open maps, you have guns that serve certain purposes, and I've heard multiple players that say the battle rifle is the problem solver. And battle rifle has 36 rounds, fires 3-round bursts, has minimal to no recoil, and has ADS. Like, I'm sitting here watching people play, and the gun is inherently good, and it doesn't do anything fancy. You put the reticle there, and those 3 bullets are popping a shield. It's like, it is a meat and potatoes kind of gun, and it's all the better for it. And then, Phil, I'm going to throw it back to you. Marvel vs. Capcom 3. I play Virgil. All of Virgil's kit is being used. And he's such a meat and potatoes kind of character. And of course you have Dante, who's like, yeah, there's moves he doesn't use. But like, you don't need to know much to be good with Virgil. He's just basic, fundamentally, inherently good. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, he's definitely got, the few aspects about him, and it's like, yeah, he's not as explosive as, well, I don't want to say not as explosive, but he's not as maybe expansive as some people might say comparatively with like Dante or Zero, but he's got that basic game plan down. Just at the core, quote, meat and potatoes. It's that one, those few basic things put together, and it's a focused design that creates a ridiculously oppressive character. So yeah, I kind of see where you're coming from here.
And I'm gonna go back to my like roots as like a fighting game player. Super Turbo's the best two characters in the game are Old Sagat and Ryu. What about them makes them so good?
They're simple.
Projectiles and DPs. Meat and potatoes. You watch a Super Turbo match and it's just zoning, someone jumps, you get DP'd, you're back to zoning. Josh, do you have any like things in like your gaming world where it's just like characters are just inherently good because they're just fundamentally good?
I mean, that's how it is in any game that has characters. Like, anybody that has options in any kind of game, someone's always going to be better fundamentally than others. Like in, fucking, I don't know, just go a different category than all the ones we're playing, or we've talked about, MOBAs. Like in League of Legends, you have, mid laners that, like, say, Ari or someone who's really good as assassinating characters, but also has support to give their team with charm and stuff like that. And then you have, like, someone like Zed, who's just a pure killer. And with Ari, your entire kit's benefiting the team and helping everyone. And someone like Zed, most of your kit's just to help yourself, so you can't really do much in like a team element game like that to help out other people. So inherently, you can do a lot more playing Ari than you can Zed. So, you know, it's...
And like, my point is just that they're just simple, basic design philosophies, and they're so like they're so focused. Is what I'm trying to say. Like their character designs are so focused that they're good.
Yeah.
And the more complex characters are worse because they're not as focused.
Yeah, which that's what I'm kind of getting at there with, like, Ari, her kit's really simple in what it does. You're helping the team with charm and you're doing damage, but someone like Zed, his kit's really complicated, and the end result is you do damage. So, yeah, you might be able to help the team if you're killing people, but fundamentally, someone's going to be able to do a lot more with, like, someone that can help support or something like that. So it's like the same concept more in a like, group team side of it.
Throwing it back to Phelan.
Different perspective.
Well, and you know,
definitely.
The parallels actually, you know, it's like he was saying, it really kind of just any game you play, right? So we were talking about this like 2 weeks ago, last time we were hanging out in person. We were talking about like the meta as far as like different trading card games go. Like specifically when we were talking about Pokemon, you know, like I said in the intros, I just recently built like a top tier, you know, no frills deck that but yeah, so the parallels they go like even further beyond, is like Josh said. I mean, any game with any kind of competitive meta kind of has a parallel we can draw that to, because we were discussing this the last time we hung out a couple weeks ago when we were talking about like trading card games and such. You know, like I mentioned in the intros, that I finally built like a actually viable competitive Pokemon deck. You know, it is considered viable, but it does kind of have like a split game plan where it's like it wants to control the pace of the match, but it also wants to attack and deal a lot of damage at the same time. So naturally, it's like I said, still viable, but it's kind of on the lower rung. Where currently in the Ultra Prism to Rebel Clash metagame, for any of the Pokemon trading card game listeners, happen to be listening, they kind of know. Where you look at the best deck, which is Pikachu and Zekrom tag team, you know, it hits kind of middling damage, but it hits hard, it hits fast, and it just kind of does it over and over again. It's a very simple plan, but because it's able to execute it so quickly, ergo meat and potatoes. So yeah, I mean, it's like you said, it's just the parallels go to any kind of competitive game with this sort of topic.
You remember Zoroark GX?
Love me some Zoroark GX.
Pretty basic game plan, right? Like, not a whole lot of frills. Like, I remember every deck having one back when that was the thing.
Yeah, Lightning was really good for a really long time.
So
it still is good. What am I talking about?
Things being inherently good because it's just their game plan is so focused. Like the developers or the creators or the directors knew the game plan, did it. There's no fancy, and it's a better character or a better item, or it's just so good because it's just such a basic thing.
It's the less is more thing.
Yeah.
It's like the quality versus quantity.
It just comes down to meat and potatoes, like you said. Like, a fancier character, if they have the meat and potatoes, awesome, you're off to the races. But if you have a crazy fancy character, but they don't have any staples, really, they don't have anything like that going for them, you're going to be bad. It doesn't matter if you look insane doing what you're doing. If you don't have your staples, your go-tos, like anything easy to get off, go with, something simple to start off with, you're going to fall short of anyone else anytime.
It's a jack of all trades, master of none. The design is spread out so thin that it doesn't become good. I think I'm going to pull out an analogy. Have you guys ever been to the China King buffet here in town?
Oh yes, that's our favorite place.
So they have such a variety of food that the quality of their food isn't as good as a result. So like I remember going back when I was a kid. I haven't been there in years, but like they were serving like chicken nuggets and American pizza. And it's just like you're spreading yourself so thin that the quality of the rest of the stuff starts to fall. And like Gordon Ramsay, if you watch him at all, like he'll do Kitchen Nightmares and he'll sit down and he'll go, "Your menu's too big." It's like you need to bring the menu down, condense it, focus. It's that kind of philosophy. You just spread yourself too thin. You don't have that core that makes it fundamentally good.
And I think a lot of games are doing that nowadays. It's like, that's one thing I like about Granblue is because it's literally 4 buttons. Every character has a simple 4-button kit that anyone can use. And yes, it simplifies the play, but you can still do the hard inputs. But you have 4 abilities you can use, and that's it. Every character's like that in that game.
That's basically what I wanted to talk about. Is just like, as I kept thinking about it, and it's like, I started like Bardock B. What makes Bardock B good? I'm using his entire moveset. He's good at his core. I don't think that you can nerf him to make him bad. He's just a well-designed character. And I started translating that philosophy of meat and potatoes to other genres, other games, other things, and it's just like, it kept coming up, like Halo 2 Battle Rival, Pika ROM, etc. Like, you just have these. It's like, yeah, the crazy shit will get you here, there, and the other thing. It looks cool, but where does it advance your game state?
Yeah, it dilutes it too much, and it brings too many variables that are going to end up losing to someone that's more streamlined.
It's like, you can be stylish as hell. Like, you can pick the character that does the flashiest shit in the world, but does it really matter when you're getting punched in the face for 45%?
That's a very,
like, you lose out. And we see it in fighters where it's like, if your character isn't fundamentally good for these 3 or 4 reasons, your character's not going to fall very high on the tier list. And that's not saying that low tiers are like unplayable. It's just they're not top tiers.
They're not viable for competitive play.
Well, they're viable for we have a fucking Axice who plays Jiren and 17 who are like garbage. It's just a player like me is going to see way more success with a top tier than I would with a low tier at a high level because they're just easier to play, fundamentally good.
No, it makes a lot of
Like,
sense.
it's just how that is, and it's not a bad thing. Everything has it. You can't avoid it. You absolutely cannot avoid that level of design.
It's gonna be
But
interesting.
it's that difference. It's that difference between comparatively good and inherently good.
It's gonna be interesting to kind of see what they do moving forward, because we're still expecting one more fighter, aren't we?
In Dragon Ball,
Yeah.
3 more.
Okay, so yeah, we're expecting 3 more, which could completely change this again, and they could rework everything. We've seen other games like literally add or take away from every character on the roster, so we could potentially see what something change in the future.
I really like Fighters balances patch, like their balance patches, because they don't just make frame data better or worse or knockback better or damage better. They give characters unique tools. Like, I remember Phelan back in Season 1 wanted to play Tien, and he was crummy. And then they gave Tien, like, 3 new special moves with, like, shadow clones and stuff, like he can do in the show. And they gave him new moves. Like, we're seeing, like, these very substantial buffs from them, where it's just like, we're not only just making what they already have better, we're making their character better because we're giving them unique tools. Like Jiren's like character design changed in the last patch. Like, you play him differently than you used to. It's like a League of Legends rework, is what I'm trying to say.
Okay, so I guess on a final note, you see this as a positive thing going forward.
Oh yeah, they're balance patches, characters coming in, bringing characters up. The Fighters team has been buffing more than nerfing, and I think that's amazing. And I don't think they've been over nerfing, except for like Super Saiyan Goku. They're making a really good like change to the game every time they update it. I mean, it's the reason why they sold like 500 mil or something like that copies.
Yeah, it's been selling really, really good.
Like, it's the highest selling Dragon Ball game ever.
Yeah, it obliterated. Like, Kakarot can't even keep up with it.
Kakarot's good. Yeah, that's my last thing. It's just interesting to see the parallels between that design.
No, it's very interesting, and I'm looking forward to seeing what comes from the future, and if they do this to more characters and make it more of a streamlined experience. It's going to be very interesting to kind of see how the tier lists change with the next 3 characters. Does anyone else have anything to add before we move on?
No, I mean, I think we covered it just pretty in depth. I mean, you know, the disparity between top tier and low tier is always going to be a thing, right? Like, I think I of all people know that.
Same.
Unfortunately, being attracted to low tier characters is just one of my major flaws. Anyway, but I mean, you know, it is what it is. You find the goals that you want from the game. You kind of make your own fun. You want to have a basic bare bones meat and potatoes, you know, succinctly focused character that just inherently just fucking rocks the tier list. You know,
do you want to do cool shit or do you want to be good shit?
Right. I mean,
yeah, that's the kind of thing.
Yep. No, I think we just hit the nail on the head, honestly. Just to have any closing thoughts at all.
Josh,
add time before we move on.
Yeah, Dom or Josh, do you have anything you wanted to add to it before we close out the topic?
No, I think we've gone over it pretty well.
All right, sounds good. Dom, if you want to do kind of tell the people what we have to offer.
Do you sometimes look in your closet and your t-shirts don't have enough friends? Well, you too can become a t-shirt mogul like myself and head on down to tpublic.com/user/tilt-mavericks. That's TILT-MAVERICKS. We have our regular logo, and any products that you want is t-shirts, stickers, mugs, hoodies. We also have It's a Gundam Game now, which is a pretty funny t-shirt. We're currently adding things to the TeePublic site as things go on, and I have faith in Marshall that he's going to put up PNGs of the t-shirts and the link when he goes to edit this podcast as we go. That is tpublic.com/user/TILT-MAVERICKS.
And yes, They do be styling though.
That was beautiful. Oh my gosh. I love it. All right, so did we have any more topics before we hit our main?
Oh, the Blood Wars is coming, actually. Do we have anything else?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
All right.
Let's
All
move
right.
right in.
So
Let's figure out which podcast member is going to die in this conversation.
So
we'll get that one listener that's just like, no, there have to be Team Xbox, and then just one of us will just die.
we're not quite there yet. I still have one little minor topic that leads into it. One thing I wanted to talk about was, it's very interesting. If anybody's been paying attention to Twitter feeds and any of the press releases from Microsoft, you'll notice on two of their things, they have both the Twitter accounts for Xbox and Game Pass PC or console Game Pass and the PC Game Pass Twitters have dropped the term Xbox, and in their terms of service, Xbox Live has been taken away and it's now called just Xbox Online Service. I'm noticing they are rebranding the Game Pass and their online services. And it's very interesting to kind of see, and I kind of see the direction that they're going, especially with the new Play Anywhere ordeal that they're trying to do. They're releasing new mobile controllers, which are really cool, like a Super Nintendo style controller, a Switch style thing, and then of course an Xbox controller with a mount. What do you guys think before I give my opinions? What do you guys think this move is, and what do you think about the rebranding?
May I go first?
Sure,
Go for it.
I don't think the rebranding really means anything huge. Like, if we look at it from a branding perspective, the Game Pass service isn't just Xbox. It goes beyond that. It's Game Pass is now on PC. It's now on mobile devices through their streaming service. I have no idea what it's called. But I think it's legitimately just to clear up that Xbox Game Pass is not just on the physical console. It's on Xbox One X, Xbox the white one, the regular Xbox One, any Windows PC. Like, it's more than just Xbox. And I think it's clear branding, and I think it's very smart branding that they're dropping Xbox, because it's a service that goes beyond just that platform.
I agree.
And that's all I really got to say about it.
I find it interesting, just kind of looking at it, because having been an up and coming gamer, in the yesteryears of
Young Daddy Phelan.
of the early 2000s, you hear stories of like the console wars all the time. I mean, chief among them obviously being Super Nintendo versus Genesis. You even had it a little bit in the 5th and 6th generation, so on and so forth.
I grew up during both of those. I lived through those wars, boy.
I have stories that you will never comprehend.
Dude, people used to get into fist fights over the console wars, man. Sega and Super Nintendo, the schoolyard was full of fist fights for that thing. Not full of them, but they occasionally happened.
And that's kind of the juxtaposition we're at now, because you look at it now, and it just came as a huge shock to me. And maybe this is just me being old and jaded, but like, Xbox has moved on to being just games for everyone type thing. It's no longer, I don't want to say it's no longer about pushing their brand, because obviously they need to make money, but
they're more software oriented.
Right,
yes.
Exactly. So it's like, yeah, you want these games that are technically owned by Microsoft or Xbox on Switch. Here you go. I mean, Minecraft is on PlayStation systems, namely PlayStation 4, as I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong. I believe the PlayStation 4 port came after the acquisition of Mojang from Microsoft.
More importantly, Cuphead came to PS4. Not even just last week.
Yeah, absolutely. That's another great example. So they've become a more games for everybody type thing. And we're seeing a shift not only from the industry, but just also from gamers in general. Like, And like I said before, it came as a huge shock to me that there are a surprising number of people who are, for whatever reason, actually kind of pulling away from the idea of consoles or platforms needing to have like exclusives.
Yep.
And yeah, I mean, and like I said, I'm old man boomer on this subject. I still kind of live in that console war generation where I firmly believe that exclusives are incredibly important to a console's identity and to its overall success per generation. But there's a shift happening, and it's been really interesting to watch.
I think.
Go ahead.
I think that shift is as consoles become more expensive. I think people are really getting tired of seeing exclusives, and it's an objectively valid statement to say that exclusives really push the identity of a console. But as consoles start getting in the $500 and $600 ranges, people really don't want to have to make the decision, because it's like you see a lot of these players go to PC, and it's like it's a middleman. There is no, like, you get to play the games you want to play.
Mm-hmm.
Like, as consoles get more expensive, we're going to see people get less and less okay with exclusivity. And especially just yesterday, Square Enix announced that Spider-Man will be an exclusive Sony platform character in the new Avengers game, which is begging the question, why are Xbox players paying $60 if they're getting a game with less content for the same price?
Same thing happened with Destiny.
It is a huge thing where it's like, this is a problem. Like, exclusives are fun and all when like consoles were like $200, $250 where you could pick and choose. But we don't even know the price of these consoles. They're going to be like $500, $600.
Yep.
I don't think people want to make that decision.
Josh, what do you think?
I mean, yeah, it's pretty much like I said. It's the exclusives, I think, honestly, are becoming less and less important. Like, I think gaming's become so big these days, too, that honestly, a majority of people, they buy both consoles. Like, if I named off 10 of my friends right now, literally 8 out of those 10 friends have an Xbox and a PlayStation, if not a Switch and a PC also in that combination. So, I really think people care about exclusives less and less, and it's more just about people wanting to play games. So the idea that Xbox is just making it easier for people to play their games, I think that's a good move on them, because, like we said, they own all those companies anyway. They're still making the money off anyone buying those games. So, actually, like, it's almost worse for them if they tried to limit too many of those games. Because, yeah, exclusives draw in a chunk of people, but they don't draw in that many people. Like, people know what they like. They're going to get what they like. You're really not going to switch people's opinion too much.
Mm-hmm.
So, I'd be like, yeah, I got whatever. Like, I got Halo on the Xbox. Yeah, you're going to get in the Halo fans. But guess what? At this point in Halo's lifespan, you're not going to drag in new fans, that many new fans with Halo Infinite. People love Halo. If they want to play Halo, they're going to buy an Xbox to play Halo.
Which is why I think that they're making Halo free-to-play multiplayer, and they're bringing it to PC as well.
Which, I think that's a good move. I think Halo should be accessible on the PC. Honestly, I always feel like any game should be accessible on the PC too, just because, like, for being 100% brutal honest, like, PC is the best place to play games.
Without a doubt.
It's, like, the appeal of the consoles is their more streamlined functionality, the less chance of, like, having to deal with back-end stuff, everything being done for you, basically. It's a more controlled environment, it's a lot easier to handle, it's a lot cheaper to get into.
You don't have to pay for online.
Yeah. Well, that's the advantage of the PC. But yeah.
Same with phones.
Like, but if you buy a PC, you get to control it down to, like, literally whatever you want. Like, if you want to edit a save file on Xbox, you got to go through a shitload of work to drag it out and do whatever. PC, you click 2 folders and you're like, all right, here's the save file. You rip it out, do what you want, shove it back in.
The sheer amount of personalization that you can get on PC is insane. Like, I don't have to get a $2,000 gaming PC. I can build a PC that is going to run the games that I know I like. There's no fat here. It's all what I need.
It's just the advantage of it. Like, just for a quick example, like a few months ago, I was playing ESO Online a lot. Well, I think the HUD on ESO Online looks like shit, so I ripped it out and put in my own custom HUD that I downloaded off of a website for PC. But guess what? You playing that shit on console, you got to deal with it. So, I think letting games being accessed to more people is always a good thing. Even if there are times when someone says something crazy like, oh, Halo's gonna be on the Switch. Like, at first I'll be like, what the fuck? Halo on the Switch? But I'm not gonna get mad about it. Like, if you think about it, just the fact that Sega's on Nintendo, go back to the old eras. And if you went back to your childhood and said, hey, Sonic and Mario are gonna be in the Olympics together, you'd look at them and you're fucking crazy.
And that's when Smash Bros. Made everybody super happy when you can finally beat the crap out of both of them.
If you would have like sat little baby me down who was playing Melee and doing F smashes with Samus all day, and you were like, hey Dom, did you know that Ryu and Ken and Terry would be punching the shit out of Mario when you turn 20? And I'm like, oh, okay. Take me with you, please.
It's very interesting how they're headed. I guess it's my turn to voice my opinion on it. As most of my friends know, or as most of everyone who knows me knows. I grew up in the old days. I grew up in the Stone Age of gaming, early '90s. So I know all too well about the console wars, and even when I was younger, I always wished that I didn't have to beg my parents for another console just because I wanted to play certain games. I hated the idea of why do I have to own this to play this? I can go to an arcade and this game has a dedicated section, dedicated section, dedicated section. But when it came to the consoles, I noticed some games were on the Genesis, some games were on the Super Nintendo, but then there was like Sonic was just on Genesis, and then Mario was just on Nintendo, and then as the consoles evolved in the Xbox and the 360 and the PlayStation 2, PlayStation 3, GameCube era came around, started noticing more and more games becoming available to all those, like SpongeBob and Need for Speed and other games like that. And as I grew older, I just wish I had a centralized place so I didn't have to unplug something just so I could play the specific game I wanted to play. So when I discovered PC, it was just the end all beat all because there were services like Steam, even in its primal state that it was back then, when it first came out after the first Counter-Strike patch release that gave you the ability to do all that. Um, it was just something that me and all my friends back then wanted, was just one place where we could go to play, and we didn't have to, all meet up at one person's house just to play it. We could all play it and then get together and play the versus modes, whatever. With what Xbox is doing, Xbox with Halo, I feel like they're going back to the way it originally was with Halo 1 and Halo 2, having a PC port so more people could play the game. And back then, PC had different weapons, different stuff for it. So even Halo had its own exclusives for PC versus the console version, which didn't get the flamethrower until 3. You couldn't fly a ghost until 2. But you could do all that in Halo 1. Now it seems like Microsoft is, instead of putting all their eggs in the console market and putting all their eggs in that basket, they're broadening their horizons as a service and as a game company rather than a console based. They're branching out Xbox into more of a service rather than a console, and I think that they're catering more to gamers in general rather than the market of trying to participate in the console wars nowadays. where PlayStation's starting to go that route too, with the PlayStation now being available on PC. But I think Xbox is taking the initiative to go towards that platform where everybody can access from one thing and then start selling their brand rather than their hardware. Because it's so much, they're realizing it's so much cheaper to just make the streaming service and make all the games digital, which is why we're seeing digital only consoles now. It's so much cheaper than having to pump out all these physical components, which for collectors, it kind of sucks because a lot of us like collecting physical media, but they're giving the option for digital as well. And I think that's a very smart move on their part because they've already made a name for themselves. Everyone knows what an Xbox is. Now it's going to be accessible to more people, and more people are going to be able to play their games. Just like Josh said, more people, like, they're going to gain the money either way. They can go down to just, having everything on PC, sell their peripherals, like their controllers and stuff like that, and sell their games. And then we're not going to have to worry about the cost of a console. And I think while we're not going to see that in probably the next 2 or 3 generations, we could potentially see the drop off of consoles being the main source in the in the foreseeable future. And it makes me very happy to see that, because that means I have more chances to play with other people who, let's say, their mom or dad didn't buy them the right console, but they have this console or they have a computer. They can still play the game with their friends. They can still play with me. It gives more people
that crossplay.
Exactly, and this is going to introduce more abilities for crossplay if everything gradually moves to one platform. And I think that's, we could lead this into, PlayStation 4, 5 versus Xbox One. I think that's what's going to set Microsoft ahead in a lot of ways. Maybe not necessarily with the exclusives, but with the idea of them having their games on more accessible platforms is going to really set them ahead in terms of their stock prices. Their game prices are going to be able to be a lot cheaper because you won't have to worry about finding the digital or the physical disc. You're like, everyone has a phone, like most everyone is able to get a hold of a decent smartphone, which is going to allow you to play on Game Pass. You pay $15 a month, you're playing the brand new Xbox games that are coming out. You're able to play Halo Infinite the day it comes out on your cell phone, and you don't have to spend any money on a console. And whereas PlayStation 5, you're going to have to buy the console and then buy the game, or you're going to have to buy the console and then pay for PlayStation Now. And I think that's going to really set Microsoft ahead in the long run.
Into it, companies don't make money off of consoles anyway. Companies honestly, they never even honestly break even on the consoles. The consoles are shovelware pushed out so they can sell games, because that's where they make their money. So I think the direction Microsoft is moving in, they don't really honestly care about the console that much.
More software oriented.
Yeah.
And that is a good point, actually, because I know for a while Xbox and if correct me if I'm wrong, but I know for a while that Xbox, and I think even recently PlayStation, have kind of been selling their systems more at a loss than really for a profit. Most notably with the PlayStation 3, specifically the Slim. I want to say, let's see, the Slim retailed, I want to say, for $120 roundabout, right?
It was super cheap.
Yeah,
definitely.
Is that the top order?
No. That's the Super Slim, the one before it.
Yeah, I think the 120 went for about 100. I think it was like $1 per gig, essentially.
Essentially, yeah, and that was selling the system at a loss, right? Like, it costs more to produce the system. Yeah. It costs more to produce the system than what they were asking for it, and I feel like that's been just kind of the fate that both of those companies have had to accept for a while, because the pushing the envelope on games, it in technology, even as far as hardware goes, it is just grown exponentially. And to keep a steady consumer base consistently coming back and buying this kind of stuff, and you like if you sell things to make a profit, like that margin just goes way up, more so than you can really ask your average consumer, your average gamer to invest in, because it just becomes a bit too much. So yeah, having to sell the systems at a loss has been a strategy they've had to do for a while. So and with a company like Microsoft, well, whatever, Microsoft's loaded, they can afford to do that. I don't know where Sony stands, but I assume since the PlayStation has been so successful, it stands to reason that they've been doing all right. So,
well, they have the
yeah,
TV
it
market
goes
and
to show
everything,
that
too.
that's just the kind of things that they're focusing on right now.
It's not that they're suffering if they're selling it at a loss, because they're making up for it in the game sales, and we've already covered it. But it is one of those things that they feel comfortable doing.
Yeah, it's one of those things that, like, they have money from outsourcing. We're not outsourcing. Like, Microsoft has computers, their software. Sony has their sound and their TVs and their digital media. I mean, they own the Blu-ray platform. Like, and Microsoft has to pay Sony to get Blu-ray discs. But
they have lifetime distribution rights to Spider-Man.
Exactly, and it's like the thing is, I can keep track of it in my head. Is oh no, I think I lost it.
It's gone.
Hold on.
Don't even drag it down.
It's gone.
Yeah, it's gone.
It's fucking gone.
All right. So, does anybody have anything closing before we get into the main topic here? Because I have a disclaimer before we start it. Okay, so it doesn't seem like we have anything else to really talk about that subject before we get into the main. I have a disclaimer for the viewers at home. What we're about to talk about is console war shit. The purpose of this conversation is not to persuade you to get either or. We are not trying to devalue your opinions about the console. We are not trying to convert anybody in this group conversation about which ones they should get. We're going to clearly talk about what camp we're in, how we feel about it, why we're in the camp that we're in. Just do not take offense to anything we say about any platform, because at the end of the day, your console choice is valid, completely valid. Everybody's got their own tastes. We're at the point now where I can't really say which one's inherently better than the other one. It's whatever you want. That's my disclaimer.
Personal opinion, that's what these are going to be.
We're not trying to devalue your purchase, your pre-order. We're not trying to persuade you to get one or the other. We're just having a civil conversation.
Yeah. Games are for everyone, so you like what you like, go play it, more power to you.
Some people are still playing on the Atari Jaguar, so
more power to them.
Let's do it. All right, who wants to start this bad boy off?
Who has
a purely
fuck the Xbox.
PS5 just throwing down the gauntlet. Here we go.
Okay,
how
about we start with Dom, we go around the table, or the virtual table here, and we talk about which one we are and why.
Okay. So I'm gonna start. All right, I don't actually say fuck the Xbox. Like, you guys are fine. Genuinely, I think Sony's killing it. They are showing us reasons to be excited for the console. They are not missing a beat. Like, there's a level of excitement that I'm getting from PS5 games that are like bug snacks, and I'm just like, that looks kind of fun. But after the Xbox showing, and how Xbox has been tooting this horn for months now that they've got XXX whatever teraflops of, and then Halo Infinite looks the way it does. And of course, they've already said it. Don't yell at me. It's a 4-month-old build of the game. It's way further along. But I think that Sony's conference hit me harder than Xbox. And I think it's given more of a reason for me to be excited about the platform. So, like, Xbox's presentation was good, but I don't think it hit as hard. And right now, I'm a fighting game player. Guilty Gear Strive is exclusive to Sony. It's coming to PS4 and PS5. Street Fighter might be a console exclusive. It's like most of these games are going to be played on PS5 predominantly, and I can call it right now. Tournament setups are going to be playing on PS5, so that's the camp I'm in, and it's pretty obvious. Like the exclusives for me, like I'm way more on that side of things.
Makes sense.
But yeah, I'm on PS5 camp. It's got the games I want to play.
Those are very good points. Very good points. Who's next?
Fuck the Xbox. No, I'm kidding.
Josh, Phelan, who wants to go next?
Josh, why don't you go ahead and take it, man?
I don't know. I mean, personally for me, this is kind of an awkward spot because honestly, I'm gonna get them fucking both camp. I don't care. Show whatever the fuck you want. Spew out your shit. I don't care. You're gonna get my $1,200, $600 a piece, whatever.
Just fucking hit me.
I'm gonna buy them both. Like PS4, I'm a very varied gamer. I hop games back and forth all over the fucking place. I shoot genres way crazy. I can't stick to one place. And PS4 or PS5, whatever. PS5, it's probably gonna have. I mean, it has Guilty Gear, which is my favorite fighting game of all time. So I'm gonna have to buy it alone just for that. Xbox has Halo, which it's probably going to come to PC, but it's going to come to Xbox first, and I'm not going to wait to play Halo, so I'm going to get an Xbox. Like, I just love games, and I support games, and best way to support games is to have the options to play games. Will I get both of them day one? Probably not, but I'm going to end up with both of them, so I think it's hard to pick a camp. Because it also comes down to, like, friends. Because it's honestly, I think, bigger than games is, for a lot of people, it's where are your friends at? If, like, the majority of your friends are on Xbox, or your best friends on Xbox, are you gonna buy a PlayStation and play alone? Maybe if you're a heartless motherfucker, but majority, you're gonna go where your friends are. Like, back in this last generation where the Xbox had its bad start and PS4 came out swinging really well. Guess which console I still had first and had for like a year and a half before I got the other one? It was an Xbox because that's where my core friend group was at. So, I mean, in the end, your choice doesn't matter. It's like Bob said, your opinion's validated. I think most console war shit just starts from the fact that people have to drop $400, $500, $600 on a console, so you want to feel validated with your choice. But that's fine. You spend a lot of money on something. You don't want to feel like you made a mistake. But either one's not a bad option.
Very good point.
Dude, I play fighters on Switch. How do you think I fucking feel? I can't play fighters with anybody.
That's
very good point.
It's very, very well said. Because I feel like I can basically echo the same principle. Because kind of leading up to it, I've had my eyes on both camps. Specifically, the kinds of software they're going to bring to the table. Because, like I said before, you know, exclusives are, for me personally, a very big deal. It might come from my roots as just a hardcore Nintendo fan, where exclusives is your main draw as to why you buy a Nintendo system. So for me personally, it's honestly just kind of been ambivalence. I look at both and I see the offerings they have, and I'm like, I mean, yeah, these things look great, but so far nothing has seemed absolutely stellar for me. To the point where it's like, you know, I'm probably just going to wait and just see what happens, and especially what with the price point these systems are at. Don't get me
We don't
wrong.
even know yet.
Well, exactly, but like what they're expected to be at.
Yeah.
And like Josh, I'm going to have the same deal. I am eventually going to get both, because he's right. You know, we got it. I support games. You buy everything. You know. or that at least that is the way that he supports games. I believe in that as well, which is why this generation I have PS4, Xbox One, the whole thing. But yeah, just for now, it's just ambivalence. The kind of games I like to play are admittedly very simple in design. I don't need the most powerful machine on earth to play the games I like to play. Which is
Have you beaten Mega Man this week?
well, I'm rocking playthrough number 53. I'm hoping I can itch out
Jesus Christ, man.
another 60 before Saturday. No, I'm just kidding.
Doesn't even feel like an exaggerated number at this point. I feel like every time I come over, you're like, I'm playing Mega Man X for the 5th time this week. I tried to play Mass Effect, but I don't know, man.
It's Mega Man.
I can't even give Phelan shit because do you want to know how many times I have played Super Metroid over like any of the other Metroidvanias in my backlog?
That's fine. Like, honestly, I can't talk about it. Like, listen, every console that Devil May Cry has released on, I have every version of the game for, and I've 100% every copy of that version that I have the game for. So, I mean, everyone has those games. Like,
Play
Halo
it
1 and 2
forever.
are mine. Halo 1 and 2 are mine. I have over 30 game like legendary runs. So,
Marshall, off topic. Have you ever done Legendary Lasso?
do what?
Have you ever played Lasso, Halo?
That might be a different term from the time I'm from. What is it?
Legendary All Skulls On.
on.
Oh yes, that I don't
That
want to
shit-
do it again. I've only done it once.
There's only about 4,000 people in the world that have done it on Halo 2 as of the Master Chief Collection.
I've attempted it. I don't recall ever being able to do it. But yeah, unless I'm doing it with somebody, I'm just like, it's that's daunting. That's daunting as hell. I'm more looking forward to doing a Dark Souls run than that.
To get back on topic, so since we're on you, Marshall, what is your opinions on that shit?
Right now, throughout the generations, I've always, since the Xbox released, I had a little bit more when my dad still had his job. I had a generous childhood. I got whatever one came out, I got it for Christmas night. And when I started being able to buy my own consoles, the Xbox 360 was actually the first console I bought myself. And then I got Assassin's Creed. So from then on, whenever a new 360 came out, I bought the 360 and then bought the next 360. And it wasn't until the 250 gigabyte Gears of War edition came out for the 360 that I bought my first PS3. And of course, PS3 had its great exclusives and everything like that, and I ended up loving it. I always went back to Xbox because it was my friends, and that resolved the same with the current generation. And going into this next generation, it's looking to be the same. I am currently in the Xbox club for a couple reasons. I do, the Xbox does have better specs, but I'm liking what PlayStation's having to offer. I think PlayStation is ahead right now. I think they are definitely a force to be reckoned with. They're going to have a powerhouse lineup. They already have claimed exclusives that are coming, especially being huge. Demon Souls is coming, which I might give that game another try. I already broke 3 PS3 controllers with that stupid game.
I want to play it for the first time.
It's a nightmare. It's insane, but it looks so good. I'm really curious about the PlayStation 5 controller. The console looks sick because I'm a huge fan of white on black in terms of a style.
Hold on.
But
you can keep going, but I'm gonna send you a thing real quick.
Okay, cool. But I think PlayStation is ahead in what they're going to be able to offer in terms of the new games that we're going to be seeing, the remasters we're going to be seeing. But the reason I am Team Xbox is one, because it's going to have Halo. I've never missed a Halo launch. It's just kind of a tradition for me. And two, it's their service. It's their online service. having Game Pass and the brand new console, I'm not going to have to purchase any brand new games from Microsoft for at least a couple months. I'm going to be getting Halo Infinite for free. I'm going to be getting the new Gears of War for free. I'm going to be getting all the backwards. If the backwards compatibility is what is listed right now, and it does go all the way back to Gen 1, I'm going to be able to play everything and not have to worry. That's freaking sick. I'm sorry.
Just a quick break right there.
That is dope. That looks like
today.
Okay, so I'm gonna post it here on the podcast. Break the intermission. So if you guys are listening to this on Spotify or on SoundCloud, go to the YouTube channel and check this out. It will be linked down below. This looks like a freaking PS2 skin. This is dope. But anyways,
that was my complaint about the design, and they were like, "Black Edition, go."
It's PS2. That is homage to the PS2 right there.
It looks so good, man.
It does. But the big thing is Xbox's Game Pass is what has sold me, and why I even brought my. Right now, I'm in a different state than everyone else, because me and my wife are down here for work, and I only brought my PlayStation. I grabbed my Xbox because of what's coming out for Game Pass. I finished Ghost of Tsushima, and now I'm on the Xbox. I'm going to be streaming all my retro Sega stuff. The other reason is all of my games that are digitally downloaded on my Xbox One are going to work on the Xbox Series X. I have a limited edition Xbox One X. This thing, if I keep running it the way I do, it's not going to last forever, and I would love to keep this one. I have the limited edition Gears of War 4, first Gears of War Xbox One Series S. I want to preserve that. So getting the new console, I'm going to be able to shelf that and be able to play all the new games. So it's really comes down to not even that it's the console, it's the service that the console is going to have that's going to allow me to play the brand new games without having to spend. With PlayStation, the new God of War, the new Spider-Man, you're going to have to go drop $60 a piece on those. The new fighting games, and that's why I love PlayStation. PlayStation Plus, you're gonna have to play for PlayStation Plus. Of course, I'm a fighting game fan. That's kind of what our group is. We play a lot of fighting games. So of course, I'm gonna get a PS5. I'm gonna end up with both, and especially because I want to play fighting games with my friends, and they're gonna most likely be exclusive, just like you said, Dom, on the PlayStation 5. Mm-hmm. But Xbox is going to save me more money. And it's going to save me more money right out of the gate, whereas a PlayStation 5, I'm going to have to drop the $500-$600 and then another $120 to at least get 2 games, unless they have a really good streaming service like PlayStation Now. But new titles that are going to be coming out, I don't think Sony's going to jump on that bandwagon just yet. So I'm going to have to drop another $120 for those brand new titles, whereas with Xbox, I buy the console, I don't have to buy a single game day one. I could just pull the system in and play the games that are coming out, and then support. Of course, I'm going to want the physical copy, so I'll go out and buy the physical copy when it's on sale used, unless there's a badass collector's edition or something. That's the whole, that's actually going back to a little bit. That's the whole reason why I buy an exclusive game on a certain console, is if it has a really cool collector's edition. And so the Xbox is going to save me money. I just got to drop that $500-$600, and I can play all the new games that are coming out that are specifically licensed for Xbox, and I can transfer my save files with the Xbox Cloud or Microsoft Cloud from my console to my phone, tablet, PC, whatever, and then use all those controllers. Use the brand new Xbox One or Xbox Series X controller on my PC. I don't have to spend another $60 on a new PC controller. There we go. I'm already set. So I'm jumping on the bandwagon for Xbox first, just because of how much the console is going to offer me day one in terms of what PlayStation would cost me.
I like Game Pass a lot as a service, and we like to laugh at it here, but genuinely, I have a friend in Cookville that I go to college with, and we hang out, and we play games together, and I don't think people truly grasp how much Game Pass just stacks. Like, I went to his room, and we went to go, boot up his Xbox and play games. And he was like, yo, check this out. And he goes to, the games that are in his library from, Perma Game Pass. They're free. You just get them for, free to keep. He had, 200 games in his library.
Yeah, and
he's like, do you want to boot up DMC 5? It's free this month. And I was like, fuck it. And we played all of DMC 5.
And it was only $15 a month. It's a fucking
killer app.
It is, and it's like it kind of goes back to the day I still love rental stores back in Kansas. There is still a rental store called Family Video. You can still go into the store and rent stuff. And Game Pass is like GameFly. You just basically download the game and just play it and get to enjoy it. And you can play cross-platform if it has it. You get all the features. You get any of the DLC that is built into that edition, like Ultra Street Fighter 4 has all the skin packs, all the DLC, everything like that. And so if a late generation version of the game comes out, you get all that DLC. You don't have to spend a dime outside of the service fee. And the thing is, with Game Pass Ultimate, it combined Xbox Live in with it, so you also get your gold membership with it too for one flat rate. And that's why I think Microsoft is going to be doing really good with their digital consoles, because they're going to have a super extensive library right out the bat, where Sony is going to have just 1,000 games you can pick from the PS4, and that's if you have the physical copies of them. And you're going to have to either buy the games digitally or physically, unless PlayStation Now kind of ups it and starts releasing brand new titles. And that's why I think, for me personally, why Xbox kind of just is going to be, a really going to still be a viable competitor against PlayStation. Even though PlayStation does have a lot of the better titles, Xbox is going to save a lot of people money and give people more to play day one.
And that really can't be understated, like kind of given the state of the world now. Because I mean, we've all felt it. COVID-19 comes in, and it's just been miserable for a lot of people. And where for some people, entertainment is now, you have to find it in your own home. Now money might be a little tight for this reason or another. Sure, the Xbox itself might be expensive, but with Game Pass, you do have all that available right there with almost no extra cost, almost
like that value.
Right, and I mean that's a huge thing, and admittedly something I hadn't even thought about until Marshall brought it up just now. But I mean that that is a big deal. That is a big deal given the modern climate of the world right now.
Yeah, and with Sony, you still have to play. You have to pay for PlayStation Plus to play with your friends, and you have to pay for PlayStation Now. Xbox combined it all. If you pay for Xbox Live Gold, you get Game Pass, or you're paying for both in one flat rate fee. And if you pay for the Ultimate, you get it for PC as well for only $25.
I will bring up Xbox Live Gold is on death row right now. Rocky territory with Xbox Live Gold. There were a lot of insider information and leaks saying that Xbox is getting rid of gold. Getting rid of it. Yep. And then Microsoft came in and said, well, no, nothing's happening to it, which only made people more worried. Something is happening with that service, and I don't think it's going to go well. So gold right now is on a weird state.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about. From what I've read, they're combining it with Game Pass, and it's going to be.
If that's the case, fine.
It's right now they have two levels. They're going to implement. It's going to basically give you gold if you have Game Pass. If you have Game Pass Ultimate, it's going to give you Xbox Live, or Xbox Online Services, as it's going to be branded. I guess going further on, once we get more information, we can clarify on that. But it'll be Xbox Online Service, Game Pass for console, and Game Pass for PC for just $10 more. So it looks like they're creating service packages that are going to implement their streaming services with their online stuff. So it looks like it's just all integrating into one package rather than being three separate services. At least that's how I take it. But just in terms of kind of what Microsoft's doing with going fully, the way they're going with online just the online subscription service. Yeah, you got 2 free games, but the money was just basically going for the security of the online. You could still, they had that with silver and gold back on the 360. And I think we're at the time where that just needs to kind of fade out, because, paying to play with your friends online, PC, you can automatically do that without having to pay any subscription fees. So it just comes down to, I think, everything starting to finally integrate.
I do have one thing to kind of clarify, the only time that I have objectively been upset at someone about their choice of like platform, and I think this is just because I come from the aftershock of this time period. Me and Marshall were having a conversation one day. I think Phelan was in the Discord as well, where Marshall straight up said, and I quote, "I prefer the Genesis version of Street Fighter 2 Turbo." And I am about a couple 100 miles away from Marshall right now, and I wanted to jump through the phone and strangle him.
Wait, when did I say that?
I was there for this call. I remember this.
You were like, "I prefer the Genesis version of Street Fighter 2," and I was like, "You motherfucker!
I don't think
you
it was
coming to my house."
Hold on a second. I think I didn't realize we were talking about Turbo.
No, I think we were just talking about Street Fighter 2 in general, which the SNES had the better version.
No, Street Fighter 2 Turbo, the SNES had the best version. The original Street Fighter 2, up through I think Championship, I like because of the 6 buttons. I like the controller.
No, sir. Those things that didn't launch with the console.
No. I'm fully with you. 2 Turbo is also best on SNES.
Like Street Fighter 2 on Genesis at all is garbage. Do you want to know all that broken shit that happens in that game on the Genesis port? It's so bad. You ever get the hard knockdown with Guile and throw them while they're on the ground?
See, this is where the console wars came in full swing back when I was growing up.
But nowadays, it's like, who gives a shit? Like, pick what you want to pick.
Play the 30th Anniversary Edition, you'll be happy.
My point is, I definitely don't feel comfortable dropping the money to do that. I support games. I don't like feel comfortable dropping like $1,000 on like both. So I've always kind of been like, okay, I'm gonna pick one. I'm gonna pick one and rock with it. And I'm not even gonna pick one at launch. Like I'll pick up the PS5 like 2 years from now when it's Black Friday, $200.
That's
like I've kind of always been that way, where I don't get consoles until really late. Like I got my Xbox 360 my sophomore year of high school, which was like years after launch.
That's actually a really good idea too, because then they'll have all the bugs worked out of the consoles by then.
And there's more games. We'll have a more educated decision on which one to buy.
And plus, you have all of us, and since all of we're going to be getting all of them eventually, anyways, you'll still be able to come over and play just about anything you want.
Oh yeah, I booch off you guys. I'm like, yo, you want to play some fucking Sam Show? Like, I don't own a PS4. I want to play it.
But I just hope, like, going back with this new generation, I really hope that the console exclusive content for games that are multi-platform, I just hope that something is done in terms of like Spider-Man being exclusive to Avengers for PlayStation. I just hope maybe Microsoft gets an exclusive character as well. Like Rocket League does it very well. Nintendo players get Mario based
Rocket League's gorgeous.
PlayStation gets Sweet Tooth. Xbox gets Gears of War and Halo. If they do exclusive content to the consoles like that, dedicated characters, I don't like that idea at all. I really hope
multi-platform titles should not have console exclusive content
unless they're doing it like they did with Soul Calibur and Rocket League. I fully believe that
if you're getting the same amount of content, just different, it's fine.
Yeah, like if you have a PlayStation console, you get God of War content in a game. Yeah, if you're on an Xbox, you get Halo or Gears content. Yeah, Switch, you get Mario, or certain, you get that Mario or Zelda or Metroid kind of content. That's completely cool. Like, I'm cool with that. But the Destiny 2 was the first one. What about Shenmue?
Shenmue 3 launched on Epic Game Store and had different content and more content than the other versions of the game. There, to this day, is not a complete version of that game on any platform that has all of the content.
Oh god!
So you have this situation where like none of these copies have there's too many exclusive bullshit. Like, come on, man.
Come on, dude. Like I've hated the idea since Destiny did it with Bungie, and that was a slap in the face. Like I actually did not buy Destiny for PlayStation for a while because Bungie, a Halo company, an Xbox exclusive company, gave PlayStation exclusive pistol, an exclusive map, and an exclusive vehicle. That made me mad and turned me away from the game completely.
Didn't also Microsoft fuck Bungie anyway? Like
they did, but still, it's a slap in the face to anybody who was a Bungie fan. Like it was I felt betrayed. Like you motherfuckers. And then I dropped off from Destiny altogether, and I picked it up when Josh told me to check out Destiny 2. I played a little bit of it, and then I went on to something else.
I remember the early days of Street Fighter V where I was getting tight. The game wasn't coming to Wii U.
The good
old days. Let's talk about that for a little bit. People were like, "It's coming to the Switch," and I'm like, Capcom would literally be losing money.
Oh man,
fighting game servers die on launch.
I remembered it. Okay.
You remembered it? Oh shit! He tracked it down. He hunted it. He brought it home. And he's cooking it.
One of the things that with going back to the previous topic that led into this one. One of the biggest things and why I think everything, like why I'm really hoping that Microsoft is doing the right thing by going more brand specific than console specific is it's going to be so much easier when developers can all make the same type of thing and not have to cater to a console to make their game.
I think that's more of a Nintendo problem.
Okay, yeah, you're
right. Here's your dev kit for the Switch. Have fun.
But still, how long does it take for a damn PC port to come out? How long did it take for Street Fighter to get a PC port? How long did it take for Bloodborne to get a PC port? Like
Bloodborne's not on PC yet, bro.
It's coming. But my point is once we get to that point where it's you basically either get a console because like you can get a console or you can get a PC. But once it's all united, game developers are going to be able to make games so much easier than we have to worry about making a PC versus a console port. It's going to be so much cheaper and so much easier on developers as well. That's what my thing was. I can't believe I forgot that.
I hate to take up so much talking time, but that really reminds me of Phelan. Remember when Mass Effect 3 launched on Wii U?
Perhaps.
So they were given a development kit, right? And they were like, how the hell do we make this work? Because it needs the gamepad. So they were like, fuck it. It runs at 20 FPS and there's a map on the tablet now.
Oh my god.
Nintendo's the worst about that.
I remember hearing a story. I think I heard this off a Did You Know Gaming video or something like that. Where the Wii U eventually got like a port of like Deus Ex. I think it's Mankind Divided. I think it was.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. They released support, and then I think it was on social media later, or maybe an official statement in an article or something. They went and fucking laid Nintendo and the Wii U out. Blasted the fuck out of them. They said this is dumb because of this. This is some bullshit because of this. Just fucking laid that shit out on the table, man. And it's a big thing, right? Like, and as somebody who was studied kind of the past of video games, Nintendo specifically, I can't tell you how many consoles have just been absolutely fucking destroyed by having frameworks that aren't easy to develop for. It's one of the reasons why the GameCube was not successful. It's one of the reasons why the PlayStation 3 had such a rough start coming out the gate. And the Wii U, as you know, is a perfect example of that as well. The system's not being easy to develop for, leads to third-party developers being like, I don't really want to put my time and effort into that, but there's money there, so we kind of have to. Here's a shitty port,
or the game ends up suffering from it.
Exactly, the game ends up suffering, or even sometimes worse. Depends on what you consider worse. But sometimes the developers will be like, no, we're not even gonna fuck with that, right? So, and then there's a whole audience that doesn't get to play this game just because of the poor optimization or the poor framework that the devs have to work with. I mean, it's a big thing. It really is.
So, ladies and gentlemen, viewers at home, remember that disclaimer that I said? Where I was like, it doesn't matter. Everyone's choice is valid. Can we all agree to bury the Wii U?
No.
Bury it. That was
No.
my console of choice, and I'm like, fuck that console.
There's a reason
Dude,
I bought it off of you, man. I love my Wii U.
I
Legitimately,
love
I hate that games were coming out for the Wii U, and Nintendo's own games were running at less than 30 FPS because they insisted the multiplayer be run on the tablet. Like, could you not just make a no-gimmick console? Please?
Remember that
Bury
zombie
it.
game that came
Zombie
like
U.
on Wii U? Yeah.
I loved that game.
The game's corny, bro. Like, you can love it, hate it, it was just funny.
Dude, it and Batman were amazing with the gamepad.
Like, I just want to bury that. That was my console of choice, and it was the Smash Machine. Like,
The dongle
unironically,
machine.
that's what it was to me.
Fucking took me almost a month of having that damn thing realize you switched out my cover for Smash Bros.
Oh, yeah, if you can take a picture of that and put it in the cast.
I'll have to. It'll have to go post, or we'll have to post on Twitter or something because I'm gonna have it posted and I'm gonna come down there because I
For those of us that follow us on Twitter, you guys are going to see it.
Okay, but we've. Does anybody else have anything else before we close out and kind of talk about what's coming up?
No.
Help me. This is a cry for help.
Help!
They have me trapped in a basement.
I have my cat climbing all over me. Hey, no, hey. All right, so pretty much, Hendrix, come on.
Cat time.
So pretty much wrapping things up. We definitely want to hear from you guys. So if you want to leave comments on our Twitters or on the bottom of the SoundCloud, don't know if Spotify has an option for that. I'm still getting used to that platform. I know iTunes will. Let's talk about kind of what we got coming up in the next week. What does everybody kind of have planned?
That's the last week that I have before I go back to college.
Ooh, good thing I'm coming.
Yeah,
down.
I move back 2 weeks from now.
Ooh, good thing I'm coming back next week then.
Yeah, you're coming up on Tuesday.
I'm gonna be there on Monday. I'm gonna try to leave here Sunday, and then Monday just kind of recoup and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then I know whatever birthday plans we got coming up for Big Joshy Boys' birthday. And then I'm flying out to Kansas on the day after his birthday. So that'll be I'll be in Kansas for a week before I come back to Tennessee and recoup for a day and then have to drive all the way back down here. Although we haven't got a confirmed day and I'm going to be back in September.
Did I miss the outro?
No, we're still going. We're talking about
we're still talking. We're about to do the outro. Marshall, I want to take a free shot at you, and don't get mad at me. When you buy a plane ticket, you have to get 2 seats or 1.
Actually, they're real. Like, this is actually kind of funny. When I was flying to Kansas one time for my mother's birthday, I was flying out to Nebraska to meet Panda, and on the ride there, I was sitting in a seat. And of course, because I'm bigger and I get the early bird special, I get to board early. So I got to pick a seat. I was nice and comfy. And this poor girl, she couldn't have been more than 14, 15 years old.
Oh, God.
The seat next to me is the only one open. The look of dread on her face when she saw that there was a big fat dude sitting right there by the window. She looked at her mom. She's like, "Really?" It's like, "All right." And then apparently she realized I didn't smell, like, because I'm very hygienic. I wear, smelly good and all that stuff. So I think she was okay once she realized I wasn't going to smell the whole ride or snore or.
You didn't have the Smash Brothers special.
Exactly. But I fly Southwest for one reason and one reason only. They see me walk up, they'll be like, "Let me clear out the seat next to you for you, so you can be more comfortable." So I will only fly Southwest while I'm big. Because they will give me an extra seat.
That's killer,
and
man.
I get an extra snack.
What about everybody else's week coming up?
Josh, what you got? What are you doing coming up, man?
Working in my birthday.
What days do you have off for your birthday?
Happy birthday!
Happy, yeah, because the next one is going to be after your birthday. So happy early birthday from us and the viewers.
Sunday.
You have Sunday through
I
your
mean,
birthday, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll have plenty of time.
Yeah.
Fun stuff. Phelan, what about you?
Well, besides cleaning the fucking disk on my computer so that it doesn't fucking spike the disk percentage mid-podcast, just gonna be working the last few weeks at my current job. Sayonara. Holy shit.
Rest in peace.
Yes, rest in peace. Anyway, but no, just finishing out that 2 weeks. Looking forward to that new job. Gonna be playing more Pokemon, more Wonder Song. Try
More
to
Mega
chisel
Man.
through my. Oh, definitely. Oh, come on, that's implied. Definitely more Mega Man. Just chiseling away at the backlog. Hopefully, I can get some more work done on my video projects that I've been working on and all that kind of stuff.
Cool. Pretty much kind of said a little bit. Gonna be going down for Mr. Josh's birthday, then going to see my family because my niece just had a birthday. In the middle of all that, gonna set up, of course, my schooling. Hopefully, get kind of a payment thing organized there, and then have it organized for when I move back. To where I'm going to be basically working from home, so I don't have to get a real job. But in terms of like video content and stuff like that, I'm going to finish my Ghost of Tsushima review, record the videos for the last 3 games I've written reviews for, and then start a review or a playthrough review of Carry On, which is a really cool looking new game that just released. Got it for Game
Carry
Pass.
On?
Yeah, looks really
Yeah,
cool.
that's a good game.
It looks really cool. And then for my streams, I'm going to start up my retro streams again, kind of like I talked in the beginning. And then I'm going to introduce a new thing called Sega Saturdays. So that's going to be kind of fun. Just a lot of content for various.
What an original idea!
Yeah, it's a lot because I work on content for our channel, for my channel, both of my channels, and then my written reviews for websites, as well as I still edit for a few other channels as well. So, like freelance work through Fiverr and stuff like that, I edit videos for anyone who pays me. So it's a lot of content, a lot of editing, but also hopefully going to get at least 2 of the videos for Tilt Mavericks live outside of the podcast. So, hopefully get those done by Saturday and I can launch. And if you guys, and these podcasts will be edited and live every Friday at 12 p.m. noon. So if you guys are looking forward to and want to tune into us on a regular basis, you can expect them on Fridays. So in terms of the outro, guys, do anybody have anything they wanted to close out with, and then we can tell everybody where to find us?
tpublic.com/user/TILT-MAVERICKS.
Check out the shirts, guys. More designs are coming soon. Got some really cool stuff with our logos coming up, as well as some cool personalized individual t-shirt designs. So look forward to those coming up soon.
And on my end, just one last note before we sign off. Play more Marvel. Stay fresh.
Yeah, when's Marvel? When you gonna play me a Marvel?
It's Marvel, baby.
Play me a Marvel.
We'll have to get a Marvel night in soon for sure.
Okay, it'll work, buddy.
Real quick, I'm gonna put a break right here, guys. Do you want, since Phelan did outro or intro, do you want me to do outro?
Yeah, you can do outro.
Okay.
Yeah, it works for me.
So, 1 hour 51.6. Okay. So pretty much, guys, we want to thank everyone who tuned in and listened to our very first episode of the Tilt Mavericks podcast. If you guys want to find any of us individually, you can find all of us on the group channel. Just click the link down below if you're on SoundCloud, as well as check our Twitters for a posted. Anytime the podcast goes live, we will be posting our YouTube channel as well. It is Tilt Mavericks on YouTube. Start with Dom. How can they find you, buddy?
You can find me on Twitter at DiminishedDom, DIMINISHDOM. You can find me on YouTube, same deal, Diminished Dom. I have a Twitch, don't stream. so don't go bother looking for me there. Other than that, find me on Steam so I can clap your free ass in some Marvel or Skullgirls. I'm challenging you now.
Bar has been set.
Bar has been set. Come prove that I'm free, because I'm trash.
Or get clapped in the process.
If you lose to me, chug a bottle of mustard. Do it.
I like mustard, so good thing. Phelan, how can they find you, buddy?
I am all over the fucking place. Best way to find me on everything, just go to twitch.tv/Emerald Element, and you can find the links to my Twitter, to my YouTube, and those are really the main ways to keep up with me. If you enjoyed my sultry voice throughout the duration of this podcast, twitch.tv/Emerald Element. Emerald_element. I should
on Twitter,
clarify.
yeah.
How fancy.
Yeah.
Josh, how can they find you, buddy?
Pretty much Smiling Anarchy on everything. Capital S, capital A, Twitter, Smiling_Anarchy. But besides that, I'm on pretty much everything. Your Twitters, Instagrams, fucking Twitch. Making the rounds. Yeah.
Biz.
Pretty inconsistent streaming schedule, but I'm working on that.
And we'll have the group stuff too, so you'll be able to see Josh in that as well. In terms to find me, anything pretty much at SirFlynn1 on Twitter and Flynn1 on YouTube, as well as twitch.tv/Flynn1. All of these links will be down below on the SoundCloud profile, guys, so if you want to go check us out, all of that will be in a big brick right down below. You can click on them and go check everybody out, as well as check out all the new content. Make sure you're following and subscribing, and make sure you subscribe to the podcast to get notified when we post a new episode. But want to thank you guys so much for tuning in, and we will see you not next week, because I'm going to be down there, but the week after for the next podcast. Thanks for listening, guys. Say bye.
One of the viewers could have realized they can go watch Castle Super Beast instead.
I have no clue, but I'm leaving this in.
He said bye, and there was silence. And I'm like, all right, cool, that's the cut. And I just fucking let out this fucking just toxicity of the Alley A meme.
All right, guys, see you next week.
Get the fuck out of here. Podcast is over.
Get the fuck out. Podcast is over. Leave.
We're
Go
off
do
air.
something more productive with your life.